Now to the American media, where the war on Iran has exposed the radicals and activists running some of the biggest companies in the world. First, we have CNN's Abby Phillips, who followed a line that many news outfits fell for by asserting that the attack on Iran was illegal. Now, countries have a right to defend themselves, and this country, Iran, has orchestrated multiple attacks on Australian soil. They are terrorists, fund the most evil acts imaginable, and have been trying to build nuclear capability. And we know that because there is no functional reason to have uranium enriched up to 60% purity other than using it for a weapon. And of course, the threat of the ballistic missile program was real, even though these insane lefties refuse to see the evidence before their own eyes.
Look, the bottom line is they don't want them to have ballistic missiles. They don't want them to have a nuclear program. They don't like that their Navy makes trouble for everybody in the Gulf. And that is the stated rationale. You could throw on other things. For the last 47 years, they have killed American troops. They've maimed American personnel. They've exported and funded terror around the world and around the region. And you seem to be suggesting we have no allies in this. I watched the president with the Chancellor of Germany today. He strongly supports what we're doing. The UK is feckless. Spain is feckless. But we have plenty of allies in the region and around the world who know we have done the right thing.
So to be clear, I just want to you just listed a bunch of things. None of them were an imminent attack. But Rita's question is actually
ballistic missiles, Abby. Drones. These are imminent attack weapons.
What proof is there that there were ballistic missiles, that they actually had ballistic missiles that could reach the United States?
Reach U.S. bases. Look at your television. They're falling right now.
Joining me to discuss is founder of Wrong Speak Publishing, Adam B. Coleman. Adam, welcome to the show. It's great to have you.
Thank you for having me back on.
Now, this insistence by some in the media that this war is illegal, I cannot believe that has gained so much traction. But I think CNN, having Scott Jennings there, almost to do these real-time fact checks, is rather humiliating for the host.
Yeah, I mean, God bless Scott Jennings. You know, I sort of understand when the average American who is hesitant about this war, or even is this exactly a war that is actually happening? Because even the conversation as far as what determines a war, and the fight over war powers, and what is the president allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do, and sometimes it feels like a semantic game. But I understand somewhat where it comes from. Maybe not the disingenuous crowd of CNN, but the American public is a bit split on this because of what has happened, at least in my lifetime, with Afghanistan and Iraq. We were promised that this is only going to take 10 days, or it's going to be a little bit longer, and then 20 years later, Joe Biden is, messing up our withdrawal. So I can understand where a lot of Americans are kind of clinging on to that idea.
Well said. Well, let's go to Rachel Maddow, because we've got a grab to play where she's got a theory for why Trump has actually attacked Iran in the first place.
Cui bono, right? Who benefits? It's always useful to start that question in any country. Who benefits? Who wants Iran bombed off the map and for their own reasons? Who are Iran's rivals and enemies? Perennially, it's the Gulf Arab states, countries like Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates and Qatar. You know, Qatar, the country that just gave Donald Trump a really, really nice $400 million plane, really a gilded flying palace for his own use, both during his presidency, and after. Trump plans to take that plane with him and keep using it after he leaves office, if he ever leaves office.
Now, Adam, I can't believe that they actually put that to air. It is one of the most unhinged theories. Essentially, what she is asserting is that Donald Trump attacked Qatar's enemy because they bribed him with a jet and he's going to get to use the jet. There's a little quip there about if he even leaves office. But this network is so unhinged and unstable to be publishing that. Do you think that it was an act of bribery that got Donald Trump to do this?
No. How do you bribe a guy who's been extremely wealthy for his entire life? He flies private planes and stuff like that. The idea that he would risk the safety of American soldiers over a plane is ridiculous. But I honestly don't expect anything better from Rachel Maddow. Years ago they talked about QAnon and Trump supporters. This is blue anon. This is the same type of insane theories that they come up with. She was part of the whole Russia hoax, and even went as far as talking about our power grid and watching out. And her theories, once again, their theories are not based in reality. Her theories are just as accurate as strange text messages I get about how the power grid is going to go down in 3 days, and it never happens.
Yeah, look. I've got a bit of sympathy for some of these networks and people who do think it's all a big conspiracy theory, because you've got these mainstream platforms which are pushing this views, and there's a certain percentage of society that I just think blindly adopts them. They blindly adopt this. You might be at the pub and then somebody will say, "Oh, well, didn't Trump only do this because of the jet?" And there are some narratives that permeate. That's why it's so dangerous. And the left, they never fact check themselves. It's always when conservative media gets it wrong, they talk about disinformation and misinformation. This is obviously disinformation. It's known to her quite clearly. Any logical analysis of that, it quickly falls apart. But the great thing is that at CNN, we've got to talk about the reaction to the actual people in Iran. And look, I take your point. There's a lot of people that's nervous. I'm nervous about where this all ends, obviously. I'm nervous about how long it's going to take. Could it escalate into something that's much worse? I think it's unlikely because it was pretty bad there, but I am open, obviously, to the reality that it could be much worse than before the attack. But then you've got the people of Iran themselves, the people that are celebrating, they're draping in flags, and watch CNN have to cover this after all of the propaganda talking points that they'd been churning out before.
Well, this gathering has only grown, Jessica, over the past few hours, since we've gotten here. It has amassed a large number of people, and the celebration is striking. We got here just moments after initial reports, initial rumors of the death of Ayatollah Khamenei had just started to trickle from Iran to this diaspora community, and people were jumping in excitement, hugging each other, crying, saying that basically they've been waiting 47 years for this very day.
Adam, waiting 47 years for this to happen. There are people crying, they're breaking down in tears, they're draped in the flag. For them, it's a moment of celebration. And it's this strange dichotomy where you're having people on the hard left in the American media and the Australian media where I'm from, that they seem to be at odds with the very people that are actually being abused by that regime.
Yeah, and this actually reminds me of the very thing I complain about all the time when it comes to leftists who want to trash America. I ask myself, do these people actually talk to immigrants who come to this country? Do they ask them, why are you here? And of course they don't. They presume why someone's there, but they don't take in the full gravity of why they're here. I've had conversations with people who are actually from Iran years ago. I understood what their family went through, them needing to desperately flee their country because they thought they were going to be killed. You know, this is a reality for a lot of people, not just in Iran, but around the world. And there's a reason why they come to this country. So they can go in the streets like what they're doing right now and raise a flag and celebrate freedom in other places because they want the same type of freedom in their old country as they do here. So I really do think that having CNN actually cover this finally kind of answers that question. Why are they here? And they're here for prosperity, they're here for safety, and they're here for freedom.
Yeah, and I guess to CNN's credit as well, this is really good that their audience, in a lot of ways, their audience has been captured for many decades. I think it's actually really good that CNN is down there, is actually talking to these people, because like you said, you've got people that have endured some of the most unspeakable hardships, and it doesn't seem to surface in discussions on major news networks. And I just think that that's a big shame. And it's also everything that you get taught not to do in journalism. The whole point is to actually talk to people that are directly impacted. And here we have the people directly impacted that say this is a good thing. They back the airstrikes. And I think this is, Adam, probably a rare moment where we can pat CNN on the back and actually say, well done, it's good. But Adam, that's all we've got time for.